everyone. Do you like Alyssa and I's backgrounds today? Because we are back at home and not in the college dorm, or as one person commented, they thought it looked like a jail cell. So my name is Rachel.
And I'm Alyssa, and no more white cement walls. It's so beautiful. Like, there's a real painting. Look, guys, a painting.
Wow. I know. So season 33, Millennials versus Gen X, ended last week. Alyssa and I finished all of our finals last week, and now we are back here for winter break doing a ton of videos we have planned. But today we are talking about Survivor season 34. Game Changers, and we are doing our tribe assessment. We did a cast assessment a while back. I will link it in the description, so you should totally check that out. It has 7,000 views right now.
We're excited by that. We're really excited. But anyways, so like Rachel said, we are doing a cast assessment, but then we decided it would be good to go through and see who's on each tribe and who's played with each other before on each tribe. And we also looked a little at who might have some beefs on each tribe, depending on like how people got voted out and stuff like that. So
yeah. And I mean, Alyssa and I were planning this today, and then we were like, this is actually hurting our brain. There are so many different stratifications of how these players could potentially work together this season that it is so confusing, honestly. Like, that's what I think will make it a good season, because I think in our cast assessment, we were like, oh, some of these players, like, we don't know why they're a game changer, but I think, like, I think this will be a pretty good season, honestly.
We were also talking about if we should say, like, this person has played with this person who also played with a different person. Like, we were talking about, well, JT played with Steven, and then Steven played with a ton of people on second chances. Should we include that? And then we were like, oh, God, no, because that would really hurt our head. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh my gosh. So I think we will start with our cast and tribe breakdowns. I will just like read through who is on this season and the tribe that they're on. So first is the blue tribe, and that they are called the Nuku tribe. LOL. So there are 20 returnees this season, and we'll start from the top. So for females on this blue tribe, we have Andrea. She played on season 22, Redemption Island, where she got 5th place, and then season 26, Kara Moen, which was Fans vs. Favorite 2, where she got 7th place, and now she is 26 years old. Next, we have Sari. She played on season 12, Panama Exile Island, where she got 4th place. Season 16, Fans vs. Favorite 1, where she got 3rd place. And then season 20, Heroes vs. Villains, where she got 17th place. Wow. And now she is age 46. Next, we have Debbie from season 32, very recent. She got 9th place, and she is age 50 now. Sarah from season 28, Kai Gayan, she got 11th place, and she is age 32. We have Sierra, fan favorite, wow, the blonde Sierra from season 30, where it was white collar, no collar, blue collar, where she got 5th place, and she's age 29. Going into the guys, we have Brad Culpepper. He is from season 27, Blood versus Water, where he got 15th place, and he played with his wife, Monica, and he is age 46. Next, we have JT. He played on season 18, Tocantins, and season 20, Heroes versus Villains. He won Tocantins, and then he was 10th place in Heroes versus Villains, and he is age 31 right now. Next, we have Ozzy from season 13, Cook Island, season 16, Fan versus Favorite, and season 23, South Pacific, where he got 2nd place, 9th place, and then 4th place, respectively, and he's age 34 now. Ty from season 32, where he got 3rd place, he's age 52. And then Zeke, who we just saw play on Millennials versus Gen X, where he got 9th place, and he is 28 years old. Alyssa, do you want to do the Blood Orange tribe?
Yes. So I was talking to Rachel about this tribe, the Mana tribe, and we were like, their tribe color is blood orange, and it's like, no, it's red. No one says blood orange. Anyways, so starting with the girls, we have Aubrey. and she was the runner-up in Co-Wrong, and she's 29 years old now. And then we have Sierra with a C. She played in Blood versus Water and then in Cambodia, and she got 5th place and then 10th place respectively, and she's 27 now. Hallie, who played in Worlds Apart, and she got 11th place, and she's 26 now. Michaela, who played in Millennials versus Gen X this past season, and she got 14th place, and she's 25 now. And then my girl Sandra, who played in Pearl Islands and then Heroes versus Villains, and she won both times, and she's 41 now. And then with the boys, there is Caleb. He also played in Co-Wrong. He came in 15th place, but he was not voted out. He was medevaced, and he's 28 now. Jeff Varner, who played in Australian Outback and then in Cambodia, and he got 10th place and then 17th place, and he's 50 now. Malcolm, who played in Philippines and then Karamoan, there we go, words. And he got 4th place and then 9th place, and he's 29 now. And then Tony, who played in Cagayan, he won Cagayan, and he's 42 now. Troy Zan, who played in One World, came in 8th place and is 54 now. And, oh yeah, that's it. Haha. Yeah. I thought there was more, and there wasn't.
Yeah, so I mean, we just dumped this whole load onto the podcast. I really usually like looking at like the tribe picture. If you like Google image search Survivor season 34 tribe, you can see the pictures, because I think it's really hard to think about with just names. I really like to visualize it. So that is what I'm looking at to talk about all of this stuff. It makes it easier.
I have a Word document. I'm stupid.
Yeah, I like looking at pictures. So, I mean, going into the number of times each person has played before, we mentioned it in our cast assessment video, but Ozzy and Sari have both played 3 times before, so it's their 4th time coming up now. JT, Malcolm, Sandra, Jeff, Sierra, and Andrea all have played 2 times, going on to their 3rd time. The winners that are returning this season are Sandra, JT, and Tony, and then the runners-up returning are Aubrey and Ozzy.
And then we also have some second runners-up. Ty was a second runner-up.
Yeah,
which
third
is
place.
Technically 3rd place, and Ozzy was also, oh wait, you said Ozzy, haha, I'm really tired. Anyways.
Yeah, and so, I mean, overall thoughts of the tribe, Alyssa, you can start on which one you think is stronger or weaker.
Which one did I say I thought was stronger? Oh dear.
You said orange.
We disagreed about which tribe we thought was stronger. Rachel thought that the blue tribe was stronger. I thought that the orange tribe was stronger.
Oh, I said blue tribe was weaker, actually. So, yes.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
I can argue for. I'll argue for blue if you want me to, because argue.
Wait, say which one you think is weaker. We'll just both do weaker.
Okay. So I think that the orange tribe is the weaker tribe, just because like they have a lot of younger people, but like some of their younger people aren't that like physically intimidating. Like they also have a disproportionate amount of older people who aren't as physically strong. Like Jeff Varner did not do very well when he competed on Cambodia because he was not very physically strong. And then Tony, I feel like he like looks buff, but then I'm not sure if he's like strong. And then Troy Zan is getting up there in the years. And Sandra also is on the older end of things.
Wow, we're like opposite, because I was saying that the blue tribe I was thinking is weaker physically, because I was thinking like guys for the most part are equal for both tribes. You know, they can all hold their own, and they both have like some strong guys and then some lesser like strong guys, I guess, but like I think those are pretty much equal. So it really comes down to the females. And so I was thinking for like the blue tribe, Andrea and Sarah are probably like the two strongest females on that tribe physically, and then Sari, Debbie, and Sierra aren't like too bad. Like they can hold their own. And then also LOL with this blue tribe, they've got Sari, Sarah, Sierra, and then there's also Sierra Easton on the other side. I was like, there are too many confusing names on this season. They all sound the same. And so I think Sari, Debbie, and Sierra, like they are like not bad at physical challenges, but I think they're weaker than like the Haley, Sierra, Sandra on the other side, because I think Michaela and Aubrey are the more challenging people on the orange tribe, and then the other three, like as I was saying, they aren't too bad, but like they're not as good as the other tribe. So I was thinking like the blue tribe has more females that in their previous season were the females that would like sit out of challenges, because Sari would sit out of a lot of challenges. Debbie has sat out of a few challenges. So I think with those females, I think orange has the upper hand.
I feel like part of it, though, is like when you're sitting people out of challenges, you're not necessarily sitting out a weak person, you're sitting out the weakest, which I feel like is a distinction you have to make. I don't know. For me personally, I feel like Debbie's still a pretty strong player, but like she just happened not to be as strong as some of the other people.
Yeah, and so
sense.
Because I feel like some of these females are not as strong as like some of the other females, like a Michaela who we saw was very, very good at challenges, or an Aubrey who had like an immunity, but came and really grew into her own self like at the end of season 32. I feel like, I don't know, like it all comes up to puzzles, but I feel like at the beginning, I feel like Nuku is going to be the weaker tribe. And Alyssa's the opposite.
I mean, I feel like I'm wrong just because I always end up being wrong.
No.
So, yeah.
And so, yeah. Going off of that, people who have played together before, this is where it starts to get confusing, I feel like, because there's so many stratifications. So we'll go through who has played together before, and then Alyssa and I can talk about like people who we think will end up aligning and who might have beef based on like voting records and stuff like that. So this season, there are 4 people from season 32. We have Aubrey, Caleb, Ty, and Debbie. We see Ty and Debbie are on the same tribe, and then Caleb and Aubrey on the same tribe. So it splits up the whole Ty and Caleb thing, because obviously they are close friends. They were invited to Caleb's wedding and all of that stuff. So pre-gaming much, it could happen. There's probably, I think for pre-gaming this season, there is probably pre-gaming, but there's less so than in Second Chance, because in Second Chance you knew like the group of people that probably, you know, out of the certain number of people, that many have to be on the show, so you could play your cards right.
Basically, with Second Chances, you knew, like, here are the people that could possibly play with you, whereas, like, with Game Changers, it would be down to, like, your own intuition to who you believe changed the game. And then also, speaking of Second Chances, there are 2 players on this season who were in the voting for Second Chances, but did not get selected. So Troy Zan and then Brad Culpepper were both on the ballot to be a part of Cambodia, but they did not get selected. So if people did pre-game for Cambodia, that could kind of carry over to this season, just because there are some players from Cambodia here as well.
Yeah, so technically Troy Zan and Brad Culpepper could have like pre-games with Sierra or Jeff Varner or something like that. And like also we were saying the Second Chance people like JT and Sierra are close with Steven Fishback. Like they could use Fishback to get in with some other people that Fishback might know. And Haley and Sierra know Joe Anglim well, so he might be able to hook Haley and Sierra up with some people that Joe Anglim has played before. And then Tony and Sarah, they were all on the same season as Spencer, Tasha, Cass, and Wu, who all played the game again as well. So that could be creating some fun dynamics out on this island. So I guess going back to people who played on the same season as each other, Andrea and Malcolm both played in Karamoan. They are on separate tribes for the start of this season, but rumor has it we're doing some doing some things at Ponderosa together. So they're probably close.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony and Sarah from Brain Brawn Beauty, they are on separate tribes this time. Brad and Sierra from Blood versus Water, they're on separate tribes for the start of the season. Then we have Sierra and Jeff Varner from Second Chance. They're on the same tribe this season. Then we have Sari, JT, and Sandra from Heroes versus Villains. Sari and JT are on the same side, and then Sandra is on a separate tribe. And then we have Sari and Ozzy from Fans versus Favorites. They're on the same tribe. Then we have Haley and Sierra from White Collar, No Collar, Blue Collar. And then they're on separate tribes. And then we have Zeke and Michaela from this season, 33, on separate tribes.
Yeah. Should we say Sierra with a C and Sierra with an S so that we know who we're talking about? Or nah?
Brown hair, blonde hair. I have no idea how they're going to tell them apart. Like, what if you accidentally think Sierra with a C is spelled with an S, and then you write her name at tribal, then you were accidentally, like, trying to vote for the other one. Like, when a tribe swap or a merge or something happens, like, the heck happens then? Then you're like, Jeff, I actually wanted to vote for that one, not this one.
Yeah, I feel like one of them is going to need to start going by their last name or something.
Which I think it would have to be Easton, or it would just be the girl that voted out her mom, because no way does Sierra Dawn Thomas get the last name treatment.
Yeah. But anyways, so we said that we would talk some about players that might have some beefs with each other. So first one I would like to talk about would be Aubrey and Debbie, because they played the entire game together pretty much. They started on the same tribe. They stayed together most of the game. And then Debbie doesn't vote for Aubrey to win the $1 million. And, like, personally, like, I think you can see in our finale podcast for season 32 when we talked about Aubrey's loss and how heartbroken I was over it. I was really confused as to why Debbie did not vote for Aubrey. And I feel like Aubrey would have the right to be confused as well. So that might be a little bit of a, like, obviously you're going to be at least a little bit over it, but that might be a possible beef. And then Sierra Easton and Brad Culpepper. Brad and Sierra, they tied on the vote where Brad got voted out. And so basically, Sierra is literally the reason that Brad went home, because if people had voted for Sierra instead of for him, then he would have stayed in the game longer. And they tied, and then on the revote, one of Brad's allies switched his vote to vote for him instead of Sierra. So I could imagine that being a little bit. Tony and Sarah, he lied to her about being a cop. That's probably not the chillest way to chill with people. So I can see that being a thing. But, like, compared to the other things, I feel like that's tad bit more minor. Like, it wasn't a betrayal in the game so much as, like, I have them all in a list, so I'm, like, scrolling through all the players.
Yeah.
JT voted Sari out in Heroes versus Villains, so that could be a thing. Sari voted Ozzy out in Micronesia, Fans versus Favorites, so that could also be a thing. So there's a lot of potential beefs, but then also I guess you kind of hope in this game that people are willing to put their past gameplay experiences behind them. Well, not behind them, because obviously if you played Survivor more than once, you're going to let your strategic decisions of the first time influence the second time. But I feel like it could definitely make it harder for them to become allies again. So,
Yeah, I feel like with such like a high stakes, like returnee kind of season, people will probably put those things behind them because no one wants to be the first one out on a all returnee season called Game Changers. That would be the biggest bop. So, I mean, let's talk about people who we think will end up aligning. I mean, for me, I think it could go either way where like the big names want to stick together because they know they're like logical targets, or like the lesser people want to start taking out these big name peoples early because they know the big name people who have played 3, 4, 2 times, like they know the game, they're fan favorites, they have done well in their past. And so, yeah, that is what I'm feeling.
You see, if I played on this season, what I would do was I'd get myself like 1 or 2 big name people as shields for my alliance, because we talked about this at the end of this past season, how if there's a bigger threat than you to vote out, then that keeps you safer longer. So if you have like a couple of big name people in your alliance, if you're someone who's not as like well known, that might be something good to do.
No, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Did you want to?
And then also,
You can go.
okay. And then also, I just wanted to say that like Zeke and Michaela definitely have like an advantage in this season, I feel like, because no one got to see season 33 air before they like went out, I don't think. Yeah?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Zeke and Michaela both have an advantage in that respect because no one knows how well they did. Like if Zeke or Michaela had gone to the final tribal council, the only person to rat them out would be the other person.
Yeah, I think for Zeke and Michaela, like Michaela, it might be like a strong thing, like, oh, you know, I was voted out pre-merge, guys, like I'm not a threat or whatever, and then she can change her game because I think Michaela has realized that her whole like stick like rock thing like really turned some people off from wanting to work with her because they realized how like strategic she was. So if like she shows like maybe like getting voted out early could be something that brings people together. Like we don't want another winner to win like Sandra or JT. Like we want someone who has never won the game to win, and like that would be the ultimate sort of game changer redemption story. So I think talking about the blue tribe, we see Ty and Debbie have previous connections, and we see JT, Suri, and Ozzy have previous connections, and there are multiple ways I was thinking how this tribe could like start to align. And so one would be age. Maybe we see Debbie and Suri and Brad and Ty are 50, 46, 46, and 52 respectively. So they might want to do an old person thing, but I really don't see that. But I feel like the young people might be more wanting to like bond together. So like an Andrea, Sierra, Sarah, JT, Ozzy, Zeke group might be more wanting to bond to like align because they're all young and can relate on different things. And so on this tribe, we have 3 super big names. We have Sari, JT, and Ozzy. Then I think the second tier big names would be Andrea, Ty, and Zeke because of recency. And so I think in both tribes, like the first boot could be like a chicken fodder player who is like not really memorable from their season and like they haven't really done much, but like I feel with the blue tribe at least, it's going to be a big name person voted out first, which I think is opposite from the orange tribe.
Yeah, I feel like from the blue tribe, the person who makes the most sense to vote out would be Sari, just because this is her 4th time playing and she has relationships with both of the other like big name players on the tribe. And I feel like everyone loves the whole like couch to survivor story. Like that is the dream for a lot of survivor players or aspiring survivor players. So I feel like Sari is one of those people where she's so good socially that like I feel like it would be a mistake to let her stay very long in the game just because she does develop relationships so easily. And I guess part of the reason I feel like she waited so long, it's been 14 seasons now since she last played, is so that maybe people would like forget about her, maybe. I'm not really sure, like, wait so long to come back.
Yeah, and Sari like isn't even that old, 46. I would think like wow, like they'd be older, and even Sandra isn't that old now. But like you're saying, I think that the first boot on Blue Tribe is probably between like a Sari or an Ozzy, but leaning towards Sari because like with Ozzy, he's always made it very close to the end with like a second place, a third place, whatever, but he has never won the game, and that could be like his talking point. And a lot of people feel like Ozzy doesn't have any strategy game toward him. He's more like a physical kind of game. So whereas Sari is like hella strategic, very social, and even though she's not very like physical, that could be a reason to vote her out early because like, oh, you know, Sari's not helping us with these team challenges right now, and she's very strategic and social. She has a lot of friends. Like, it's time to vote her out. And just with like heroes versus villains, Sari could be like, oh, guys, like I was voted out very early, 17th place on Heroes versus Villains. Like I didn't make it that far, so you guys should keep me around longer. But then it's also on the other hand, like other side of this coin, like they voted her out so early in Heroes versus Villains because they were afraid of her gameplay and knew she would be a huge threat in the future. And so I think out of like all these big name people, I think JT has the best shot to make it the furthest.
You see, I feel like JT wouldn't have a very good shot to make it very far just because he already has that winner thing like stamped on his forehead. And like we were talking about earlier, like the ultimate like story for Game Changers would be like either Sandra going on to win a third time, which I personally think would be ridiculous, or like someone who had not won before getting to win Survivor, like on their redemption, their second chance type thing.
Yeah,
so,
I'm thinking JT has the best shot because he's got like that charm, you know. I think he's sort of like a Jay from this season where people are just sort of drawn to you. Maybe it's the accent or like his personality, but we saw it in token sheets and like people just like JT. And even in Heroes versus Villains, like JT could be like, you guys, like I'm not actually good at the game. You saw my Heroes versus Villains gameplay. You know, I give people immunity idols and like stuff like that. He could pretend he's bad.
Stupid people immunity idols, like giving someone an immunity idol can be a good move, but given a lot of feelings about that. Wrong thing to bring up, Rachel. You're making me angry.
I think JT, like, I think he's the most under the radar person of here, maybe, you know, because I feel like Sari and Ozzy are very like out there, but JT is more like in the background maybe, and I don't know. I feel like he would be able to relate with like the less big name players out there.
Yeah, and I feel like JT's whole story was kind of like, oh, I'm just a like farm boy or whatever, but it was kind of that feeling, I guess, where like I'm not much of anyone, I'm just hometown guy, whatever.
Yeah. So moving on to the Mana tribe, Blood Orange, we can talk about them. Sierra and Jeff Varner know each other from previous playing the game, and then Caleb and Aubrey know each other. And apparently, so Malcolm was in Haley's music video, so they know each other. So I think the elites on this tribe, so like the big names like Tony and Sandra, will want to bond together as compared to the Blue tribe where they might not bond together, because I feel like the Tony and Sandra on this tribe, the big names here, realize that if they don't stick together, they will go home very early in the game. So they realize like, I need to stick with you because you are good at this game and you're very like out there and a big name. Like, we need to stick together.
I think it's interesting just because like most of the players who have only played one time on this tribe have gotten like done very, very well. Like of the one-time players, we have a runner-up, a winner, someone who got an 8th place, which isn't like a great placement, but it's okay. And then 11th place, and then Michaela, but whatever. So I feel like it will be interesting to see whether Aubrey like veers off to go with Tony and Sandra because they both place very high as well, or whether she'll like stay with like Caleb and Malcolm and them. And I think
Yes.
it's interesting just because Aubrey and Caleb played together, but they never really saw anything of each other in Korong just because of tribes the whole time. So
Yeah, so like the big names on this tribe would be Tony and Sandra. The second tier big names was thinking would be like an Aubrey, Sierra, Malcolm, Jeff Varner, and then Michaela. Also like Zeke for recency. And so yeah, Tony and Sandra, I feel like will work together. They realize they are probably going to be one of the first ones to go, so they need to stick together. And I feel like a Tony and Sandra could bring in people like Michaela, Malcolm, Sierra, and Haley. I think that is a solid 6 right there for the majority. And I think someone like Aubrey or Troyzen would be on the chopping block. Aubrey, because the people realize like she made second place on her season. She is good at challenges, very strategic, might not have the social game behind her, but she is like a threat in this game. Or Troyzan, because he's sort of not very memorable on Survivor. They might just be like, easy vote, let's vote at him first. But with big name players, I feel like the first boots probably won't be obvious ones.
yeah, and I feel like part of the thing with Aubrey, a lot of her strategy the first time around relied on the fact that people so underestimated her. Like her whole story arc type thing was like, I'm a sniveling mess who like came into her own in Survivor. So I feel like it's those people were playing a second time around might not benefit her because she did well the first time around, and then it's going to be more of a hindrance than a learning experience, I feel like.
Yeah, so
But
I think
from the comments Jeff has made about this season, it sounds like everyone's being super cautious at the beginning. So I wouldn't necessarily bet on someone with a big name going out first.
very true. I feel like everyone who is playing again, like loves the show, wants to play again. They might want to be playing safe at the beginning because, like we were saying, no one wants to be first boot out of an all returnee season. So people might choose to do the obvious boot of like a Brad Culpepper or a Troyzan because like they're not really that big of names. And but on the other hand, like maybe someone wants to try to make a move and vote out a big name, but I don't know. It's like a two-sided thing. It could go either way.
Double-edged sword.
Yes.
I feel like part of it is also when you get these returning player seasons, people focus a lot right from the beginning, like the whole building up the resume thing. And so I feel like people might want to like start building up their resume really early, but then it ends up painting a target on their back. So
Yeah, imagine if everyone tries to play like under the radar, like not really like creating strategy, but just following everyone else's strategy, then like nothing happens because no one's doing anything because no one wants to be like the one person on day one that fucks up like the puzzle or like messes up by being too bossy at camp.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see if anyone is willing to volunteer like for the puzzle part of the challenge or something like that. Or if anyone's going to volunteer to be like the leader person at camp or something.
Yeah, because I
Watch
feel
no
like
one build a shelter because no one wants to be that person. Ugh.
yeah, all these people know the Survivor do's and don'ts. So everyone will be doing the do's and not doing the don'ts, and then no one will be doing anything but hanging out on the island. So
Yeah.
I think next time we're going to be doing our in-depth analysis of who can win this season and whether like Sandra's legacy will be tarnished because of this season. So that will be happening next time, along with some other Survivor related videos like our DIY challenges and stuff like that.
Yeah, so hopefully are we going to do the slide puzzle thing first? Was that what we were thinking?
Sure, let's do it.
Well, we're going to teach y'all how to successfully solve a slide puzzle since those are so popular on Survivor, partially because they're really simple once you know how to do them. So yeah, we'll be teaching you how to do a slide puzzle. We'll be talking more about who's going to win this season, and we're going to be enjoying not having any responsibilities because it's break.
Yes, super, super fun. I'm very excited for our now like 3 weeks off of school. So yeah, I guess we will see you guys next time. We are trying to do 1 or 2 videos a week, so maybe in a few days.
Bye.